Hello, I'm Reverend Rick, and it is my honor to be with you today. We really hope that this video is a blessing to you. And if it is, please consider making a donation. People watch our videos locally when they cannot necessarily come to church throughout the United States and the world. So please join us and click the link below and make a donation. Thank you, and let this be a blessing to you.
All right, let us prepare ourselves. If you put your hand over your eyes, I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
And now over your ears, I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
Now over your heart, extend out your arms. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
The spiritual truth that I'm working with today is that you cannot lose your divine intelligence. It is not possible for you to lose your divine intelligence. Nobody can take it away from you. You are divinely intelligent. No matter how many stupid decisions you have made in the past, you are divinely intelligent right now. You know, everything I do in ministry actually is in service to reminding people about today's spiritual truth. Reminding people that you are divinely intelligent. My work is to guide you back to your roots through your own personal ancestors until we get to the one ancestor that provides you with this infinite intelligence. I'm going to be working with a book that will help us attach ourselves to this divine intelligence, make us aware of it, because while you can't lose it, and while nobody can take it from you, you can ignore it if you want. And so our work together is to stop ignoring it and actually begin to embody the understanding that we are divinely intelligent. So I'm working with a book called The Power of Decision by one of the great metaphysical teachers of all time, Raymond Charles Barker. And Raymond Charles Barker, in this book, he says, look, this is not a feel-good book, and this won't be a feel-good series. It's a series that says, take up your bed and go on. Take up your bed and walk. It's a series that says, get out of your own pity party and let's look at what options are available to you. It's a book that says there really are no external limits in this life. There are only the limits that we put on ourselves, the ones that we accept. And what happens is, you all know exceptions to rules? Well, those people are only exceptions to any rule, to any societal structure, to anything, because they said, I don't believe this. I don't believe this about myself. And that's how they become what we call the exceptions. Well, Raymond Charles Barker was a minister, religious science minister, for over 50 years in New York. He was a colleague of Ernest Holmes. And he says this in the book, and he said it throughout his lectures. Look, I have no interest in comforting people. That's really not my interest. My interest is getting through the pain so that you're on the other side. That's my interest. And I think it's a fabulous interest. He says this in page 11 of this book. The problems are the shadows created by man when he refuses to face the light of intelligence and therefore makes wrong decisions and abides in the house of worry, confusion, and defeat. The problems could not exist if you did not exist to create and experience your problems. To the premise of his book, and I want to say, if you find any book by Raymond Charles Barker, pick it up and read it. You'll be a better person. You'll be a happier person. You'll be a more successful person, no matter which of the many books that he read. The premise of this book is that you are born divinely intelligent, and you have divine intelligence coursing through your body, and that includes your mind. See, we see babies as these cute little blobs, and we say, oh, they're so cute, they're such cute little blobs. Raymond Charles Barker sees them as cute little blobs of divine intelligence that the Creator put there. for their potential. These little blobs realize their divine potential through accessing divine intelligence even before they can speak, and they actually show us how to do it through one spiritual practice. And that one spiritual practice that babies show us how to get in contact with our divine intelligence is simply through acceptance. Acceptance. See, when a baby cries, don't we scurry to help them? When they're tired, don't we scurry when they're hungry, don't we scurry to feed them? And all they do is express their need. That's all. That's all they do. You know, if you've ever had a colicky baby, I had a colicky baby, you know that you will get in that car and you will drive for hours. And all they have to do is scream and not stop screaming. The spiritual practice of acceptance in their life. They understand that they and every living soul wants health and wealth and joy and self-expression. And to do that, we have to touch in with a divine intelligence that provides us everything. So how does this get messed up? If it's so easy, how does it get messed up? Because most of us have been exposed to people who aren't on the same page as those babies. See, often it's due to some disappointment in their life, and often we think of it as bad luck. Well, here's a tough spiritual teaching from our theology. There is no such thing as luck. There's no bad luck, and there's no good luck. There's only the luck that you make it, the life that you make for yourself in your life. See, in religious science, we believe that we don't confuse soul-satisfying information with happy information. Soul-satisfying experiences with happy experiences. Sometimes soul-satisfying experiences can be happy, and sometimes they can be not happy in our life. They're different deals. Some of you grew up with terrible childhoods, and I'm not okay with that. Some of you grew up with rageaholic parents, and I'm not okay with that. But it wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident. Our soul can benefit from every experience we have. Some of you are still talking about bad marriages in your life. I'm going to ask you today to make today be the last day you ever use the term bad marriage. Because all you had was a learning marriage. It wasn't a bad marriage, it was a learning marriage. And if we can begin to understand the difference between a bad marriage and a learning marriage, we step out of victimhood and back into our own power. See, from those marriages that were learning marriages, we might have learned that we don't want to be married to an entrepreneur anymore, because entrepreneurs are very focused on work and not so much on family. So maybe you learned that in your learning marriage. Maybe you learned in your learning marriage that you didn't want to be involved with somebody who wanted to process every word you ever spoke. Maybe you learned that the next marriage isn't going to have that kind of person in your life. Whatever you learned in your marriage, maybe you learned in your marriage that you don't want to be married to somebody who's so insecure that they're threatened every time you step out in your own glory. Maybe that's what you needed to learn in your learning marriage. But let's call them learning marriages. They're not bad marriages. They're marriages that gave you a lot of information in your life. See, and here's the interesting thing. We don't have to experience any learning experiences, any learning situations. We don't have to. If we want to engage the divine intelligence before those happen, we have that information at our fingertips. So you had the information about the learning marriage before you ever walked down the aisle. You had it. And most of us even had a twinkling of it as we're taking step after step after step when that music is going on. But we don't access it. We don't keep clear about it. So you think of our mind as the ocean. We're like a drop in the ocean. We're not a drop in the ocean like a fish is in the ocean. We're not a drop in the ocean like a surfer or a cruise ship is in the ocean. They are in the ocean, but they're separate from the ocean. We are actually a drop of the ocean. We are a drop of divine intelligence. It's us. It's who we are in our life. We're part of the one mind itself. And at our disposal is everything we need. Everything we need to attract people and situations in our lives without the hard lessons being attached to them. See, the trouble comes in when we introduce the unintelligent factor into our divine intelligence in our life, into that field of intelligence. See, worried is an unintelligent factor. Resentment is an unintelligent factor. Hate is an unintelligent factor. All of the isms that plague us are unintelligent factors. Speaking poorly about and to each other are unintelligent factors. And when those get introduced, it's very hard for us to access it. Barker in this book says, look, here's what worry is. Worry is the gestation period between the time you have a thought that's not good, something's not going to work in your life, to the time you're going to experience that thought. Worry is the gestation period between when you have a thought that is a calamitous thought and when you experience the calamity in your life. Well, Reverend Georgia, if this God is so smart, why doesn't he just intervene? Why does these things have to happen? Because God is undisturbed by the way we learn. God is undisturbed by the way we learn. See, God says this, look, you want to learn life's terms with a lot of drama in your life? Okay. You want to learn life's terms with a bucket of tears? All right. You want to learn life's terms by getting in connection with spiritual principles and swimming downstream? Okay. It's all up to us in our life. In the end, it's all up to us. Now here's the thing. Don't believe for 1 minute that if you have had a life of learning things the hard way, because I'm going to tell you, before I came to a church like this, and can you imagine how excited I was to hear a 15-year-old say, I'm learning these principles and how I'm going to apply them in my life. But until I got to a church like this, I lived life really hard. I swam upstream every day of my life. But we don't have to do that. And the thing is that we can change. If you've been a drama queen for the last 40 years, you can change today. You can change this very day. But to do that, we have to get something that I say every single morning. And that is, you are whole, perfect, and complete right now. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't some behaviors you want to let go of, some attitudes you want to let go of, some ways of thinking you want to let go of. But at your essence, you are whole, perfect, and complete, just as you are right this second. Why is that so important? Because until we get that, we can't think beyond our own self-accepted image. Let me say that again. You can't get beyond what your own self-accepted image is. You are what you think you are. If you think you're a poor decision maker, you will make poor decisions. If you think you're not good with money, you will not be good with money. If you think you're not compassionate, you will not be compassionate. You can't think beyond your own self-accepted image. But the past and how people see us is not what defines us. There's a story in the book about a concert pianist who's also a swimmer. He swims laps every single day. And the people at the pool think that he is a swimmer. That's what they think about him. His friends know he's a concert pianist. Both are true. One does not negate the other. Your past mistakes do not negate the fact that you are divinely intelligent right this second. Here, I want to read one more thing he wrote in the book. Problems are to the mind what pain is to the body. They are warning symbols. They are different indications that something creative must be done in the mind. Wise people know this and start reversing their thinking when the problem appears. They seek a new idea to solve and not an old idea. It is well said that necessity is the mother of invention. You may think a minor problem is not that important, but it is. It needs your new thought about how to reduce it to nothing. Letting minor problems exist in your world means that more will be generated. I was going to say that again. Okay. Ignoring problems, minor problems existing in your world means that more will be generated. Soon the aggregate of the minor problems becomes your major one. It has come to full bloom, and you will be sad. See, we have so much power. We have so much ability to design our life. So this week I'm going to ask you to do some homework, and that is to make a mental note of your excuses and your alibis for mistakes. And they will begin to reveal a pattern in your subconscious mind that is driving your hard lessons. So let me just say that again. This week, you're going to take note. Y'all have phones. Y'all have a little note app. Put your note app on and make notes of when you're making excuses and alibis, and they will begin to unveil a pattern in your life. I can't go whitewater rafting because I'm too old. I can't get ahead in my job because I didn't finish my bachelor's degree. I can't find a partner because I have 3 kids and nobody wants to take that on. Those are all alibis and excuses. Start writing them down. Make a note. So if you have any more than 3 in one category, I invite you to call a practitioner for an excuse and alibi busting appointment. Just say, I need an excuse and alibi busting appointment. To get through this. Now here's the pin. Here's the hint. Practitioners are not going to stay very long with you in your story. They're not going to stay very long with you in your past because they don't really care. Now they might ask you what happened. They might ask you what you think to cause it, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is what spiritual principle does that practitioner know that can help you transform that so that it no longer runs your life, so that you're no longer attached to the problem. You're now reattached to the solution here. See, it's not that we're not going to give you love and TLC. We're going to give you all the TLC we can find because we don't like hurting people. And we want to love you through them. But we're not going to stay with you in the problem. We're going to begin to look to the solution. And isn't that better? In the long run, isn't that better? Yes. See, Jesus wasn't, as Reverend Deborah told us last week, Jesus wasn't interested in the causation of the man at the pool of Bethesda. Why was he crippled? Jesus didn't ask. He didn't care. He said, get up your bed. Take up your bed. Because he knew that what we needed to focus on was the solution. He was in touch with the divine intelligence. So this week I invite you to just say to yourself, I am divinely intelligent. Say that with me now.
I am divinely intelligent.
Say it one more time.
I am divinely intelligent.
Let's go for a third time.
I am divinely intelligent.
So when you go into that office and your boss calls you in and you have kind of a knot in your stomach because you don't know what your boss is going to say, that's what you say to yourself before you go through that door. I am divinely intelligent in my life. You know, before you get that phone call that, you know, or you get it and you know who's on the other line, I am divinely intelligent in my life. You know, before your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend says, we have to have the talk. I want to have the talk. before you wring your teenager's neck? I finally intelligent. Because you have everything you need right now to move through life unattached to problems. Let's take this message. That one presence that is the presence of the Most High God, the innermost God and the outermost God, is the same God. That God that is within me and that God that is within all of life is the same God. And so everywhere I go, there God is. And I turn my attention to that. And when I turn my attention to the presence of God that is within me, I walk a little taller. I walk with more compassion. I walk with more understanding, and I give thanks for that. I give thanks for every being in this church. I release this word in the law together we say.